Well, the hostages got goodie bags. That means that the hostages were treated just fine by Hamas. Let's take a look at the most idiotic response I've ever seen. Let's go.
Let's go back to what Hamas has said. They believe that terms of the ceasefire have been breached. They're not going to release any more hostages. Donald Trump has said all the hostages out by 12 on Saturday. We think he means midday. All the hostages, not just the next 3, all the hostages out, or all hell breaks loose. He said that's what he would do. He's been backing Israel. Do you think that would focus minds? I mean, there's no reason why Hamas couldn't release all of the hostages on Saturday, could there? I mean, all of them. Is there any argument that you, as someone who desperately cares about innocent people, those hostages are innocent people, are they not? Is there any reason why Hamas couldn't and shouldn't release them all?
I mean, if Hamas doesn't release them on Saturday, this, by the way, was in the past. This Saturday has passed already. But if Hamas doesn't release the hostages, then it gives them pawns and negotiation tactics. If they release all the hostages, they know that Hamas is going to be obliterated the next day because there's going to be no more hostages in the Gaza Strip. So Israel doesn't have to be careful to kill their own civilians. It's a tactic. They use the civilians as pawns.
Once the hostages go, and every act of kindness that has been shown to Israel has just been backlash.
Sorry? Every act of kindness?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Every act of... What were the acts... Do tell me what the acts of kindness were. The pitcher bread once every 3 days for those men kept in a tunnel for 16 months? How generous, how kind.
And you're focusing on the 3 men.
Oh, silly me.
If we look at the women.
Oh, you're going to go there. You're going to go there. Didn't they look well and healthy, Yvonne? Didn't they look well? They must have had a wonderful time at that holiday camp that Hamas ran for them for the last 16 months. When you were held captive, when you were held hostage by the Taliban, you were fed. You had cigarettes. You were looked after. You weren't in fear for your life. Those women, those men, the children, the elderly, the sick, they lived every day.
I would be in an Israeli prison, that's for sure.
Absolute abject nonsense.
We've had a doctor who was raped to death, and then the Israelis called it self-defense. When did rape become self-defense?
Well, yeah, you tell me. Let's ask your friends in Hamas, Yvonne.
I don't know anything about what you just said about the doctor that was raped to death. After this, I'm going to try to do more research about this. I've never heard about anything like this. Let's continue.
I'm not saying there aren't atrocities committed by some Israeli forces, and some of them end up in court, and rightly so, and they should all end up in court. I'm not defending any...
By the way, if atrocities are happening on the Israeli side, I 100% think that the soldiers should be trialed. If something, of course, illegal happens, and of course, if civilians are involved.
Atrocities that are committed by any side. I want to know, what were the acts of kindness that Hamas did to that have been thrown back in their face by Israel? What were those acts of kindness?
Well, they gave them goodie bags. I don't know what was in them, but they gave them gifts. They gave them little mementos, Palestinian mementos.
The acts of kindness from your hostage taker, from the man who's kidnapped you and terrified you and starved you for months.
And why would they give them those mementos right before putting them in front of the world's media, so the whole world can see how Hamas treated them? Why would they do it? This is their strategy, and they know how to manipulate the weak-minded, just like Yvonne right here. Absolutely incredible. Because they gave them gift baskets, that means they were treated well for the past 16 months. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yvonne, what's happened to you? What has happened to you?
What's happened to me, Julia, I have watched day in, day out pictures of children being blown to shreds.
Do you know who put those out?
American and British bombs. I have watched war crimes being committed.
You know who put you know who puts those images out? Hamas. You know why we never see images of Hamas fighters being blown up? Because Hamas don't allow those out. Who put those children?
That's a good point. I'm going to use it.
Who put those innocent people in harm's way? Hamas.
I'm pretty sure in the first 2 weeks of the war between Russia and Ukraine, you could have seen exactly the same images In the Syrian civil war, you could have seen exactly the same images. In the Sudan civil war, you could see exactly the same images. But nobody cares when Muslims versus Muslims, or when Russians versus Ukrainians. Nobody cares. Only when Jews are involved against a different entity, against the Arabs in this case, all of a sudden the world cares and the world demands it to stop. Why? Because of the emotional aspect, because they release those graphic images of children, graphic images of baby that exist in every other war.
Oh, that's ridiculous, Julie.
That's ridiculous.
Like
They went into Israel to massacre innocent people and they took hostages. Were they surprised that Israel struck back and wanted their hostages back? No, of course they weren't. They knew what would happen. They brought down that.
I can't believe this has to be explained. I'm like genuinely saying, I can't believe this has to be explained to people. What did people think? Did people think that Israel is not going to want their hostages back? People think that Israel was just going to sit back and not respond or retaliate to the atrocities that happened on October 7th? Do people think that Israel is not going to respond to any terrorist attacks that happen in Israel? That's what people think. That's what people want? Yes, that's what people want. People want Israel to cease to exist, and that's why every time they retaliate against a perfectly legal target, they get angry. They get angry. They come from an emotional perspective. They then start doing research, start justifying everything against the Jews, and then say Israel is not allowed to defend themselves. It doesn't make any sense to me. But this journalist, not the one interviewing, the one getting interviewed, Yvonne, because they gave them goodie bags. Oh, the blood that goes into my brain. Gotta drink some water. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for helping me with the algorithm. I really, really appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, see you. Bye-bye.